I'm Simon Dewsbury, PGA staff professional here at Belmont Country Club, continuing our series on how to think your way around the golf course. Right now we're going to look at hole number 9. It's an uphill par 5 that brings us back to the clubhouse, but it's a really good birdie opportunity. Let's go. There we are, 9th hole, coming home to the clubhouse, par 5, 540 down to 396 yards, depending on which tees we're going to be playing from. It's a dogleg right. We do have trees on the right hand side here, kind of in the landing zone, that we're going to have to work our way around. And it's more of an adverse camber on this fairway. The fairway slopes right to left, even though we want to kind of work the ball around left to right because it's a dogleg to the right. So we're going to play around the trees, and then it's our second shot which is going to make us decide whether or not we're going to attack the green or whether we're going to lay up short of these fairway bunkers and give ourselves our comfort zone wedge shot going into the green. All right, here we go. The 9th hole. It is a dog leg around to the right. We want to be shaping the ball around this tree on the right hand side. The rough down there is a little bit thick and lush as well, so we do want to kind of make sure we stay away from it. The fairway cambers right to left as well, so a fade shot when it lands is going to be landing coming into the slope, so it's not going to release that much once it lands. The ideal line realistically is going to be towards the 3 trees that are on the right hand side of those weeping willows. Almost, if you're looking beyond those trees towards the grey roof, we want to be on the right hand side of that roof line, playing off those trees then and shaping the ball around into that slot of the fairway coming up. Make sure I don't hit the camera. There we go. The same with the blue tees, because we do share the tee between the gold tees and the blue tees, but we are on a little bit of a launch pad. The tee has been actually shaped upwards to help to get the ball up into the air, so we can hit the driver, we can be confident with it. Just want to get as aggressive as possible, hit it out towards those 3 trees or towards the right hand side of that roof line, and play that little fade into this wide open part of the fairway. It's about 50 yards wide, so we can be really aggressive with this shot. We've got a big wide open target area to land in. We don't have to be pinpoint accurate. Moving forward to the next tee box, the white tees here. It feels like I'm actually dropping down, but because we're on that little launch pad, by the time we actually get into the middle of the tee box, we're about the same height as we were from that back tee. And again, we just moved forward only about 10 yards from the blue tees, so it's not a significant difference. That angle is still going to stay the same. We want to be on the right hand edge of that roof line towards those 3 trees in the distance, just to the right hand side of that weeping willow, playing into that big wide open expansive fairway with the fade if we can, to just play it around the corner of the dogleg as it begins to shape up towards the right, but keeping everything away from the rough and that tree up on the right hand side. Moving up now onto the green tees, this is where there is a big difference in the distance from the whites to the greens this time. We're about 70-80 yards further up, and we can see now we don't have a long way before we actually get to the fairway, but the fairway is quite a long way above us. We've also got the mound of the red tee in front of us as well, so we've got to make sure that we get the ball up into the air to clear all of the problems here as well. So maybe even a 3-wood off the tee could be a better option rather than driver. But again, we want to keep all this trouble of the rough and that tree on the right hand side out of play. We want to steer the ball a little bit further left. I would actually probably be looking at the house that we can see in between the trees is where we want to start the golf ball off. And if we can just drift it a little bit around with a fade into the middle of the fairway there, that's going to be your ideal tee shot. But if we do hit it straight, we've still got a lot of fairway down on that left hand side that we can go into, because again, it's still 50-60 yards wide at that point in our landing zone. So make sure that we've got enough elevation to carry the trouble and get us into that fat wide part of the fairway, keeping us with a second shot that's going to give us the shot going up the fairway to go towards the green. As we move up here now onto the red tees, again, we want to make sure that we're not entertaining this rough and the tree up on the right hand side. Although the flag is actually to the right hand side of all of these trees, that's how big a dogleg it is. We do want to make sure we're playing into this fat wide open part of the fairway. Looking from this tee, realistically, we can go towards the apex of the cream siding on that house as our start line. That fairway is so wide open there that if we do miss hit it and come a little bit to the right, we're still likely to be into the fairway. If we pull it a little bit, we're still going to be in the fairway left hand side, but it keeps us away from being blocked out up on this right hand side. We don't want to entertain that tree at all. So we're looking at 120 just to get there. If we want to try and get past it, realistically, you've got to be looking at going over it. We don't want to be trying to skirt around the edges of it. So playing into that wide open area, that's our line, that's where we want to go. Trust your shot and stay away from that tree in the rough on the right hand side. Now, if we do end up here in the rough, we want to try and get as much distance as we can. The reality of it though is that playing that hybrid, if I just sit that down here and get actually down low enough to get into the golf ball, you can see how much that golf ball's got to travel through all this grass before it actually gets airborne. That's going to take a lot of the energy from the golf ball out of it. So playing something that's got more loft, this is my 8-iron. It's going to launch the golf ball a little bit higher. If I was in the fairway, obviously it's going to go a lot shorter, but the reality of these two swings and these two shots is that the 8-iron is probably going to give me a little bit more control than my hybrid, because I can get the golf ball up. If I am playing it, I do have to be careful of these overhanging branches on this tree, so 8-iron may be the 7-iron. I like the idea of my 8-iron because I'm actually going to put the golf ball a little bit further back in my stance, and I'm going to lean into it just a touch. Now what that's going to do is, as I lean, push my weight forward, I'm going to kind of shallow out my shoulders position here, as opposed to being with my left shoulder high in a normal neutral position. And that's going to help to give me the feeling that I can actually hit downwards into the golf ball, keep my hands ahead. So I'm actually going to be taking a little bit of loft off this club face anyway. So kind of turn it into kind of an 8.5 iron, kind of in between a 7 and an 8. I'm going to grip the same position as I would normally, but a little bit firmer in my hands, because I want to really make sure I drive down through this grass. I don't want the grass grabbing hold of the neck and closing the face down on me. But as I get to impact, really just feel as though I'm driving my hands and my arms downwards and forwards. Get the ball back into play and accept that I've made the mistake off the tee by putting it into the rough. So now, although I may be a little bit further back than I would like, I can keep my score going. If we are going to play this shot though with the hybrid, that same kind of concept is going to come into play. I'm going to put the ball a little further back in my stance. My hands are going to be a little forward, so I'm leaning with it, try and get the feeling that I'm hitting downwards. Now again, that's going to take some loft off that club face. I've got to really feel as though I'm just driving my hands forwards and through. I'm probably going to lose a little bit of control over my shot trajectory, and when it lands, I'm just going to try and get it to run out as much as I can up that fairway. You've got to be really strong. You've got to really drive your arms down through that thick grass and trust that you've got enough loft there to try and slide the golf club underneath the ball so that the golf ball meets the middle of the club face. All right, with the second shot going up towards the green, if we can't get there, again, we've talked about it before, we want to make sure we get ourselves to our layup distance. I'm at the point where I feel like I could actually go at this green in two. The ball's above my feet, so that's going to help to promote a right to left shot shape, but this green, realistically, and all the trouble being up the right hand side, I want to bring the ball in left to right. Again, with the design, they put that red bush behind the green, kind of just to the right of the apex of the starter's hut. So that's really where we want to start the golf ball off and then shape the ball around off that if we can. Not as easy with the ball above your feet, so you're going to feel as though I'm holding the face off to produce that left to right shot. Didn't quite get the fade. Just up on the front edge of the green. Just went dead straight on me. I'll take it for somebody who doesn't play that much anymore. With the layup shot, again, we want to try and get ourselves to a distance that we're really confident with. We've lasered this out now. I got 122 to the flag, so I can have a pretty solid swing here with my gap wedge. All the trouble if I go straight at that flag is going to be short. I've got this step series of bunkers leading up to the flag, so I want to go at the flag or a little bit beyond. I don't really have any problems past the flag here. So pick your yardage. We are going uphill, so that's going to affect the club selection a little bit. This yardage is just going to be really good for me for a full swing with my gap wedge. Again, feel the shot out. And go at it. I don't know where that's finished. It didn't bounce. And just died as soon as it landed. So with the fairway wood coming into this green, obviously I've finished green high but just off. So I don't have the luxury of being able to clean my golf ball. But I'm this close to the edge of the green that I'm not going to try and chip this. I am going to use the putter. We've got the other golf ball there from the wedge shot from if we would have had to have laid up and played into it. Well, I've got a really long putt here, so although I'm actually going to look at this from behind the golf ball, I'm not going to walk all the way around. I can just see everything that's in front of me. I can see that there's a step here. Everything's going to come off that shoulder on the back left corner. And all I've got to do there is focus on my distance. I'm never going to be a million miles off in terms of my directional control with where I'm actually pointing the club face. It's all about making sure I just get the distance correct. As we can see there, it feeds around from that left hand side, and as it slows down and gets towards the hole, it moves almost sideways at the end. So it's all about the distance. So as a lag putt from this far away, I'll take that. That's not too bad. What I do want to do now though is mark it, clean it, and now go through my routine. Now that I have got onto the green, I can now clean the golf ball, and because I'm in so close, now I am going to go through the full routine. Again, I'm going to look out to the sides and see this shoulder just pushing in a little bit. Take a look at it from the other side. You can see that it is just going uphill a little bit as well, and everything feeding down this way. And there's a 2-putt, although technically a 1-putt because the first one was from just off the front edge of the green. But a really good way to make the birdie and finish the front 9. If we've laid up, we've had to play that wedge shot or a short approach shot into the green. We want to try and control the distance as much as we can. Again, go through our housekeeping duties. Make sure we repair our pitch marks. Most people would be happy seeing that their pitch mark is in front of the golf ball, which means they're getting backspin. To me, that's a little bit too much because I don't want it spinning back. I just want it to land and stop. That gives me control of my distance. So this one I got a little aggressive going into the impact zone with the golf ball. But again, we've got an outside chance of birdie here, about 20 feet. But looking out to both sides. So we've got a little bit of a bowl. We've got the shoulder coming off the left, the shoulder here coming off the right. I don't think there's going to be as much movement in this as it looks. As you can see with the shadows as well, we're going into the evening. So there's just a little bit now of moisture on the green. That again is going to begin to take out some of the break. And it will probably play a little bit straighter than you think. Pick your line and trust it. But again, same routine. Not the birdie that we would have hoped for, but if we played it into the rough off the tee, we've had to punch it out and wedge it into the green. Par is not a bad score. Again, we're not doing anything stupid and running up a double or a triple bogey by trying to play the miracle shot. We've accepted that we've hit a bad tee shot and we've got ourselves back into play. We had the chance for birdie, but nothing worse than a par, and we can walk to the back 9. Thanks for watching. If you're a new viewer, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave some comments on what you'd like to see as we go forward. Also, if there's things that you don't like or you think we need to improve on, let us know, because again, we're still learning how to do this. We'll see you soon.